When Bonnie Blair was 12 years old, her dad decided she would be an Olympian. Bonnie embraced the goal 4 years later. When Bonnie was all in, she dedicated every effort to the sport. After she had graduated from Centennial High School, she moved to the Milwaukee area to train with the United States national speed skating team. Bonnie competed for the United States in 4 Olympics. She won 1 bronze medal and 5 gold medals. Despite her awards and honors, Bonnie has always seen herself as a regular person with a loving family that showed up in large number at her Olympic contests. Since retiring from skating in 1995, Bonnie has made a habit of using her gifts both inside and outside the rink. Her notoriety dramatically improved sponsorship to speed skating organizations, and she donated funds herself as well. She made a habit of working for others and supporting causes. Bonnie married Olympic teammate Dave Cruikshank. Today, the woman who was once known as Bonnie the Blur and her husband Dave have 2 children, Grant and Blair. Bonnie Blair has coached at the Pettit National Ice Arena in Milwaukee and served on the board of many skating organizations. As a mom, she is careful to manage her outside activities to allow her to focus on rearing her children. Bonnie has lost several family members to cancer, and she has helped raise money for the American Cancer Society. Recently, she has also worked to raise $50,000 to help a water project in Ethiopia called Wellspring of Hope, run by Catholic Relief Services. Once completed, the initiative will improve the drinking water for 10,000 people. Bonnie Blair and Greg Brown wrote a children's book called A Winning Edge in 1996. When Bonnie talks to kids, she tells them that not everyone can be an Olympian, but she encourages them to find something they love and then dedicating themselves to it. She says, be willing to risk your pride and remember to keep a balance in your life with the help of faith, friends, and family. When you do these things, you will have a winning edge.
I'm for sure honored to be here today and celebrate successes for those of us doing things, I guess what you would say, on the court, off the court, on the ice, off the ice, on water, off water, however you want to look at it. And it's nice for me to be here. So thank you for this honor. One of the things that, Pat, you shared with in the introduction is some of the work that I've done in the last couple of years with an organization called CRS, Catholic Relief Services. And with that, I'd like to introduce a couple of people at my table that helped me get involved in that organization is Joe Cottrell and his wife, Kathy. And I say Joe's partner in crime, Tom Van Hinderbergen, and his wife, Lynn. So thank you. Thank you very much for, in a way, opening my eyes to another organization where you can help somebody in need from very far away. I think one of the things that really brought me to this organization in a sense that kind of really was that home sinking thing for me to say, yeah, this is something I'd like to get involved in, is it was something that wasn't just a quick fix. It was an organization that does things that are long-standing. So when you talk about how we've raised money to help those far away just have some running water, have latrines. It's not just a quick fix of just bringing them cases of water. It's showing them, bringing them the tools that they need and how to dig the wells and make these things ongoing. So that was one of my I'd say, selling points for me to get involved with an organization. I've been lucky. I think I've traveled to something like 16 countries through the sport of speed skating, and I've seen a lot of different things. But a lot of those countries weren't something like what Joe described to me. And to know that you might have the ability to try to help somebody far away who for sure isn't as fortunate as us is something that I'm very proud to do. I think those of us that are getting honored here today, we've had success in one way or another with things that we've done in our lives, and to know that by those successes and the name, I guess, that you've created for yourself, that you're able to help others along the way, and that's something that I'm truly proud of. I think part of that really comes from the upbringing that I had and the family that I had, my parents, all my older brothers and sisters. I'm one of 6, but the youngest by a long shot. And as you mentioned in my introduction, I've already lost 3 siblings due to various illnesses. So what was a big family is kind of shrinking. But once again, me being able to be involved with some of those causes of those illnesses that my family's wound up having has been something that I've been very proud to be able to give back to. I think some of the pictures that you might have seen up on the screen, family definitely for sure is a very big part of my life. And the skating family was a very big part of my life, and how I met my husband, Dave Cruikshank, who's here with me today. And as well as his parents, my in-laws, John and Myrna Cruikshank, sharing with me here today. But I think one of the unique things that we had about the sport of speed skating, and I don't know whether it's because it was kind of a small-knit community, but it seemed like a majority of the people that were involved in the sport were Catholic. So when we went, this was back in the earlier years, or my earlier years, I guess I should say, because nowadays a lot of the competitions they have are one-day competitions. But back when I was skating and coming up to Chicago, if it wasn't every weekend, it was probably 2 weekends a month during the winter, and on those other weekends we'd be going to Wisconsin or the St. Louis area, Michigan, Minnesota. And the meets would be all day long, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. But it seemed like whoever was organizing a lot of these competitions, as soon as the competition was over on Saturday, they would have a Catholic Mass for those who wanted to stay around, and they'd bring in a local priest, and we might be, in the warm-up room or some side room, but everyone would kind of come together, and that was something that was pretty standard for me growing up in a sport. So I think something very unique, and probably something that didn't happen in very many other sports or really even done today, but it was something that was unique and one of the memories that I remember growing up in the sport. I think another thing that I alluded to a little bit is just family, and how important family has always been to me, and the guidance that I had. And I think being the youngest of 6 kids, and by a long shot, I really didn't just have 2 parents. I had 2 parents plus all my brothers and sisters. And they're the reason I really feel that I am the way I am today. I had great role models to look up to, and great guidance that came from my family. So I am for sure eternally grateful to them for what they bestowed upon me. And I can only hope that I will be able to do, and my husband will be able to do, the same thing for our children, Grant and Blair, who are now almost 17 and almost 15. So with that, I will end in the thought that even though I did move to the Milwaukee area, where when you're listening to the news, it's the Packers at the top of the news, in the middle of the news, during the weather, during the financial. Dave grew up in Chicago, I grew up in Champaign, and we are still Bears fans.